There's a developmental stage at about 4 to 6 where kids are going to explore the truth. If the child didn't go through a normal developmental sequence at 4 to 6, they may explore it much older. So you may bring home an adolescent who's never had the normal developmental trajectory, and they may explore the boundaries of the truth. So a first thing to bear in mind is that exploring the parameters of what's really true is part of the developmental sequence. A second thing to remember is you need to be thinking about your own example, because, for example, if your child picks up the phone and says, "Mom, it's so-and-so," and you say, "Tell her I'm not home," it's going to be really pretty hard for you to hold your child accountable to a high level of truth. A third thing to bear in mind is the purposes of misbehavior. There's always a reason and a purpose. There's always a function for misbehavior for us as well as for our children. For a child of any age, a misbehavior has either a conscious or an unconscious purpose, a goal in mind. So I have to explore as a caregiver, as a parent, does my child believe they have to lie to get this need met? Or is my child fearful of my reactivity? Have I been overreactive in the past? So if you bear in mind now, that does not mean we don't address the behavior. It simply means that we address it with balance and insight. So those three things, and then a final thing is my goal is to teach my child skills for life. And honest communication with trust and integrity is obviously a goal for life. So I might say to a child, a young child who's telling me a story, "Sweetie, is that real or pretend?" And they might be able to recalibrate as we redefine real and pretend. I might be able to say something clever and humorous like, "Really? Wow. Do you want to think about that and try it again?" I might even give a child time to think about it, say, "You know, that isn't what I thought I saw happen. Would you like to go think about it for a little while and come back to me when you've had a chance to think about it and tell me what you think really happened?" So my goal is a balance of structure and nurture. I'm going to address any misbehavior, but I want to do it in the context of balance. It's really important as parents look for how to help their children develop long-term strategies for integrity in their relationships with each other, with family members and God. It's really important for us to remember that we want to celebrate the good and not have joy in, "Aha, I caught you." Okay. We're taught by Scripture, by the heart of God, that God rejoices and that God's love rejoices in the good. It doesn't rejoice in evil. So let your child see your joy in helping them succeed. My experience with children who tell stories and look outright lies is that when they understand, I'm here to help you succeed, I'm going to work with you, you need to work with me. Let's work this out together. That a child will come forward to tell the truth, and then let me help them solve the problem or the need that was driving that lie. The two primary errors that I see with parents when their children lie is that they either overreact or they don't react at all. And neither one of those is an appropriate response. We need to do a balance of structure and nurture. We need to do a balance of responsiveness and proactively addressing these needs as parents who are teaching our children patterns for life.
The issue of lying comes up frequently for parents. I know it has for me. And as I began to look at this and the challenges that lying creates for me as a dad, I realized that, frankly, a lot of it was rooted in my own past. I can remember vividly the destruction that lying had created in my childhood, in my upbringing, whether it was the lies that I told or the lies that I was told. And so I came into adulthood and into parenthood more specifically with a lot of baggage around the issue of lying. As we know, all kids are going to explore the boundaries of the truth and truth-telling. But for me, because of all this history that I brought forward on the issue of lying, I tended to do what a lot of dads and a lot of moms do. I overreacted. I came down on lying as if it were the sin above all sins. And while it's not a good thing and we don't want our kids to lie, we also need to make sure we remain connected even as we help teach and train them in truth-telling. The other tendency that some parents have is to completely ignore lying, to excuse it or to justify it or to somehow wish it away. And the reality is that we have to deal with lying when it comes to our kids. But the question is, how do we deal with that? Is there a way to deal with lying so that our kids and us stay connected, so that we can train and teach them, so that we can build into them the value of truth-telling, that it pleases us, it pleases more importantly God, and that it helps keep trust in relationships as opposed to tearing it apart? I've discovered that the answer is yes, that we can come about the issue of lying in a way that keeps us connected with our kids. I think it's also important to recognize that sometimes I have a tendency and other parents have a tendency to want to catch their kids in a lie so that they can use that as an example and then make a big deal of that and teach them. And at the end of the day, I want to celebrate my kids' successes. I want, even in those situations where they're coming to me and maybe lying is going to be something they're going to turn to, I want to be able to say to them, hey, you know what? It's really important that you tell me the truth, because when you do, I can trust you and you can trust me, and together we can solve whatever problem it is that you have or whatever mistake it is that you've made. The issue of lying is a serious one. It's a challenging one for parents. But the issue is not whether we deal with lying. We have to. The question is, how do we deal with lying? And focusing on dealing with lying in a way that keeps us connected, that keeps us side by side with our kids, that helps them understand we're their coach and we're their advocate, and we can help them solve any problem that they have.